Hello and welcome to New Life Show on AUK Radio, a space for your health and wellness. So what is this show about? Here we educate you on your health and well-being, and we discuss various issues concerning our health and our well-being. On today's show, we'll be talking about one of my favorite things to talk about, the menopause. I'm your host, Yinka Omishore. Now, also going in line with the International Women's Day theme about accelerate action, equality, empowerment, and right for women, the topic of menopause still remains a taboo, and so many people don't want to talk about it. But let's talk about it. For those that don't know what the menopause is, simply put, the menopause is when a woman comes to the end of her reproductive years. That means menstruation ceases, the chances of having bambinos, babies, is very, very small or pretty much zero. Menopause can also be a time of pain for some women, not even talking about the symptoms of the menopause now, but for some women that would have wanted to be mothers that have not been able to have children, it signifies the end of the possibility of being a mother. So it's a mixed bag of feelings for some women. And for many other women that I converse with, it's like, oh, that time of life. And it feels like a dreaded or dreadful time of life. And it shouldn't be so. So today, let me define to you, like I said, what exactly the menopause is. And we're going to talk about some of the symptoms and the signs of the menopause. And being in the United Kingdom, talk about some of the advancement that has been made in talking more and more about the menopause itself. So, like I said before, menopause, we can simply define it as the end of the reproductive years of a woman, where the menstruation stops and, of course, ovulation comes to an end. Now, it's not just about the period stopping. There's other things that accompanies the menopause. Let me say here that menopause is not a disease. It's a stage of a woman's life. It could be naturally induced, as in most women come into menopause between the ages of 45 and 55. Depending on where you are geographically, it can be 51. Also, menopause can happen way before a woman is 40, and some women even in their 30s, and I hear some women in their 20s. And it can also be either surgically induced or as a result of some medical condition, you can go into early menopause. Now, New Life Show, we provide for you education information. We're not here to diagnose, we're not here to cure, neither are we here to heal any ailments. Please do consult with your healthcare provider in the first instance. So on with today's topic. So the menopause is more than your period stopping as a woman. The signs and symptoms of the menopause that includes hot flashes, where you feel like your body is on fire. Not literally, but you feel hot. Could be night sweats, insomnia, sleep disturbances, changes to your oral health, changes to your sexual health, changes to your mood. We have things like brain fog. You get up, you want to get something. As soon as you get up, you forgot what you were going to get. Where you're forgetting that you have your glasses on your head and you're looking for it everywhere. Or you're losing your keys, you're forgetting numbers, you're forgetting names. And it can be a lonely time. It can be a lonely time because for many of us, I say menopause happened to us, that we came into menopause because we were not educated about this stage of life. So it's trying to change that narrative by talking about menopause, making it the norm, really. Let's have a conversation about it. So, did you know that 1 in 4 women have debilitating menopausal symptoms? That is, it affects their day-to-day living. A study that was carried out a few years ago in the United Kingdom came up that almost 1 million women, over 900,000 women, left their jobs because of menopausal symptoms. It was that severe that they could not cope with their jobs. So when we think about that, that's a lot of experience. That's a lot of women leaving the workplace. And statistically, it's been shown that midlife women form the largest number of employees in the workplace. So if we're losing that many women, I don't know, every year, then the workplace is not just losing women physically, but also the experience. We're walking out of the door with that. I know things are changing in the workplace and technology is forever advancing, but we need the experience and the wisdom of women in midlife. So therefore, our workplaces should embrace more changes in the workplace to accommodate menopausal women. All is not, it's not all bad news. Again, in the UK, because I have evidence of that, and I live in the United Kingdom. In 2023, the United Kingdom appointed Ellen Tomlinson as the UK government menopause employment champion, working to improve menopause support in the workplace. Because menopause is not just a woman's issue, it affects your relationship, it affects your ability to work, it affects family relationships. So making it a woman's issue, making it an organizational issue, also making it a societal or community issue. Meaning we all need to be educated about the menopause so that we can support the women in our lives. So employers are also being encouraged to create comprehensive menopause policies, which will, and also to train managers. There are many workplaces that have been trained so that managers can understand what the menopause is and how it's affecting the people in their organization so they can support these women. The Equality and Human Rights Commission as well has emphasized that menopause can intersect with age, sex, disability protection under the Equality Act 2010, meaning employers must make reasonable adjustments or reasonable accommodation to accommodate menopausal women's needs, even up to uniform. Simple things like having a fan on the desk, or maybe changing where the woman is sitting to be closer to the window so they can get fresh air, especially when you start to blow hot. Simple changes like that, flexible working hours. Some organizations like Vodafone, HBSC are good companies in the United Kingdom that have embraced the menopause symptoms and have put changes into place to support the women at this stage of life. So bringing it to the family, how can our family support women in menopause? Like I said before, menopause can be a lonely journey because as a woman, if you don't know what's going on with yourself, how are you able to explain or translate it to your family and friends? So therefore, the support is not there. Family members, I always say when I do my master classes, you need to call a family meeting. First, you're getting your education coming to the master class, or maybe you're getting your education from reading, you're understanding exactly what is going on, then you're able to explain to members of your family what is going on and how they can support you. Everybody needs to pull, if you're the woman that's always doing everything in the house, this is the time we need to delegate. This is the time to look after yourself. Self-care is not selfish because we cannot continue to pour out from an empty cup. We need to look after ourselves. You need to get yourself educated. You need to educate your family as well. Communication and education, that is the key to get that support that every woman needs through this stage of life. Now, tying it back to the theme of equality, rights, and empowerment for women. One, let's talk about the rights. Women, you deserve access to specialized healthcare. Your workplace accommodation or workplace adjustment or readjustment, and accurate information about the menopause. You deserve to know all about the menopause. You deserve to know what you need to do to look after yourself. Equality. Menopause should be seen as a normal part of life because really it is. It's not a barrier to success. midlife women, we're not over. We still have so much to give because we have incredible experience. We've accumulated so much experience and wisdom, which if it's not passed on to the next generation, then it's lost forever. Empowerment. Women should feel confident advocating for our health, whether by seeking medical experts, joining communities, or pushing for policy changes. In the UK, the Menopause Task Force has been issued on the government level to ensure that menopause is no longer ignored, but the real empowerment comes from the grassroots. That is, comes from us as women, comes from us as the community, comes from us as the family. Education, communication. Now let's talk about the men's role in being allies for women in the menopause, for example. We'll say to listen without judgment. Again, to educate yourself so you understand what that woman is going through. I have a friend, a couple friend, the wife actually went into early menopause, and it got to a point, she's having brain fog, she's forgetting things, she's having hot flushes, she didn't know what was going on with her. The husband, being a caring husband, took it upon himself to research, and that is when they started putting two and two together, realized, oh, she's actually going through the perimenopause. Now, he's educated himself, he's been able to support the wife, so they're still together. Question is, could it be that we could have saved some marriages if both the woman and the man in that marriage are educated about menopause? Because when we talk about some of the symptoms of the menopause, the fatigue, if you're tired all the time, that affects your relationship at home. It affects your ability to work. It affects your ability to stay alert. It affects your ability to make decisions. So if you're having all those parts of your life being affected by just being tired, then it of course affects your relationship. It affects your sexual relationship. It affects your relationship with your children. Education is key. Again, I'll keep ringing that bell. Education is key. Communication is key. So, men, get educated, support your women. Women, keep a diary of your symptoms. There's so many symptoms associated with the menopause. We have well over 30 recognized menopausal symptoms. Some of them, unless you've been through them, it's crazy. For example, let's take formication. What is that? That's like you feel like you have ants crawling on your scalp, all over your skin. You see people scratching and you don't know why. You moisturize. And that's because the menopause, we are losing those hormones that have been in the body, offering us perhaps protection with the joints, cushioning our joints, helping with the collagen so we're not having dry skin. And when those hormones are disappearing as nature intended, we start to get some of these symptoms, we start to get some of these signs of the menopause, and that can make menopause an uncomfortable time. But whatever has a beginning also has an end. So it's to look after ourselves. Like we're advocating on this show is about our health and wellness. How can you as a woman help yourself to stay sane, to stay healthy through the menopause? Speak about your experience. Speak about, before you educate yourself, by the time you're educating yourself, you have the information you need to perhaps go to your doctor. Therefore, while you're educating yourself also, you get tips on what to eat. It's been found that again, I'm going to go back to my plant-based, eating more plants, eating more fruits and vegetables helps us with, in a way, rebalancing the hormones. So it helps to reduce the symptoms that women go through when we come to the menopause or transitioning through the menopause. So our diet is vitally important, making sure we're exercising. I know for some women, you come to midlife and you have joint pain. So exercising is the last thing on your mind because let's face it, if you're in pain, you don't want to exercise. But it's trying to also, chair exercises are good. Trying to move the body regularly will also help with keeping it helps with the mood. So when we talk about the menopausal symptoms, I mentioned about the mood swing. That, exercising helps with your mood. It helps with your mental health in general. So it's finding something also that you love to do when it comes to exercise. Might be dancing, might be going to aerobic class, might be going to the gym, might be going to for nature walk, whatever you will do as exercise, do it, because we need that movement to keep us sane and to keep us healthy. Again, hydration is key. Our bodies are made up of well over 70%. As much as we look like a mass, we got muscles, we have so much water in us. So we need to be hydrating. They say by the time you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So you imagine your organs of the body, like your heart, having to work a little bit harder because it's having to pump this thick or thicker blood around the body because we've not had enough water. Menopause, as I like to say, is not the end, it's a new beginning. How we approach menopause, how we really how we approach menopause is quite important. The mindset about the menopause needs to change, and that starts with education. And I mentioned about communication, joining communities online on Facebook, that where you feel free to talk about your struggles, because it can be a lonely journey. But when you're listening to other women and sharing their stories, you feel reassured that you're not on your own. You're not on your own. And just think about the experiences that you've gathered throughout the years, the wisdom that you've gathered throughout the years that you can pass on to the next generation. So we want to change the narrative around menopause. We want to change the narrative around women's health. We want to empower women. We want to give women equal rights when it comes to our health, which is the topic of today, so that women, we can continue to be ourselves and to be able to continue to look after others. We look after everybody, but we need to look after ourselves. I say midlife or menopause or perimenopause itself is a time to be selfish, if you will, to look after yourself. Your health needs to take priorities, because as a gateway to our aging, how we approach the perimenopause impact on our aging. Okay, so one of the things what I didn't say about when I was defining menopause is when it's actually two phases, really. So you have the perimenopause, which is where women have all the symptoms and the signs of the menopause that can go on for years. Now, some lucky women don't have any symptoms. 1 in 4 have debilitating symptoms, like I said before. Well, three-quarters of women worldwide do have some menopausal symptom, 1 or 2, right? So that's the period, that's the perimenopausal period. So they said after 12 months of no period consecutively, after 12 months, you are officially in postmenopause. So imagine you come into postmenopause at maybe 51, which is the average age in the United Kingdom, for example. So you see how, with advancement in medicine, with advancement in technology, we're living longer. So that means women are spending a long time in postmenopause. So we want to stay healthy for the rest of our life, because it's a big time, it's a long time. So we're in it. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So we want to pace ourselves with healthy habits, pace ourselves, educate ourselves, educate the people around us so they understand what is going on, so they understand how to support us. Okay? So remain educated, communicate, join a community to keep you accountable, to give you that support that you need. So thank you for listening. And remember, menopause is not the end, it's a new beginning. And let us get wealthy together by staying healthy. And until next time, take care. I don't know what that one was about, because